Well, hello there, Retro PC Durham. It's Chris here with another ThinkPad. And here we go. This is a flagship model? I don't know what to call it. Second most, one of the most moddable models. I'm not sure what to say about this. Other than it needs maybe no introduction. A ThinkPad T420. That's right. An iconic, loved and beloved by ThinkPad users around the world, ThinkPad T420. Great design, great overall weight, functionality, capability, and upgradability and manageability, even into 2020. Wow. Very nice to have this sitting on my desk. I've had a couple T420s over the years. I've had one T430 over the years, and I've loved every single one of them. They are great machines. Classic and iconic ThinkPad in terms of design, in terms of ruggedness, manageability, serviceability, etc. So here's this T420 here. As far as stock capabilities that you had with these models, these were second generation Core i based machines, and you had anywhere from as low as a Core i3 2310M, which would just been like a dual core 2.1 gigahertz, all the way up to an i7 2640M. However, I know that there is the capability of putting more powerful processors in this as well, because part of the modding of these ones is people going and pushing these things to their limits. And I believe I have seen someone mention that they could get upwards of a 2720QM, which would be a quad-core, hyper-threaded i7 processor into this puppy here. As far as graphics goes, you would either have the integrated HD graphics that came with the Core i processors integrated onto the chip, or you could have a discrete graphics card, which would be an NVS 4200M, and that would be 1 gig worth of VRAM. Obviously, that would be the more optimal for wanting to have better graphics. From a power capacity perspective, you just want the HD if you didn't need better graphics on the system. Screen-wise, you had a 14-inch screen on this system. And then it would be, depending on the quality, you might have the lower end 768, or you could have a higher end 900. And then I've heard that one of the things that people like to do on modding is replace this screen with a 1080p capable 14-inch screen, which I'm not sure if it's a ThinkPad screen or if it's like an Alienware screen or something that was from the same manufacturer that made the two screens that came with this, but that's something that you can do to mod this as well, which is kind of cool. Camera and ThinkLight are part of the standard features on this, and the wonderful, old style 7-row ThinkPad keyboard. After this, when you move up to the T430, the controversial island style keyboard that replaced that. Some people don't like, but it introduced backlit capabilities which didn't exist on the previous. But it is a dream to type on. I actually don't mind either versions of the keyboard. I like the old style. I also like the island keyboard. I find them both very comfortable to type on. The travel seems to be perfectly acceptable for either way to go. The one thing I have trouble with actually is the older style ThinkPad keyboards that are missing the Windows key is one of the areas where I actually have trouble because I'm so used to doing Windows shortcuts when I'm using Windows. But again, a lot of ThinkPad users who do modding, they're moving into a Linux environment anyway, so that probably isn't important to them to begin with. Memory-wise, you can get up to 16 gig worth of RAM on this one. So again, two SODIMM slots, one on the bottom and one underneath the keyboard, which are incredibly easy to access. So two 8 gig DIMMs. I believe with some third-party BIOS, you can actually get up to 32 gig worth of RAM in here if that for some reason was necessary, matched up with these older processors. I'm not sure how or why you would be needing to do that. 16 seems like more than enough for the top-end applications that you would be able to run on this system anyway. And then from a storage perspective, you have at the time the traditional 2.5-inch SATA connectivity, so anywhere from a 160 to 500 gig drive, or as I mentioned in previous videos, there was a 1.8-inch SSD drive going around for some of the slim laptops that had a conversion kit to be able to fit into some of these other systems. One of the things that gets done on these often from a modding perspective as well is there is a spare mSATA slot on this system that would be for a wireless WAN card, which you can fit a SSD drive. So you could actually have an SSD mSATA and then a spinning disk for your extra storage on this system as well. As far as ports go, We'll take a look here on the front. You don't have any spare ports on this one, just your connection clip to open up the door, open up the LCD. Audio port, your Ultra Bay Enhanced, which has a DVD Multi 3, your MSATA connection. So this would be, in terms of modders or upgraders, very popular here to install a USB 3.0 express card. Because there is no USB 3 on the system, but you can be able to do USB 3 through that MSATA, through the express card. I don't know why I keep saying MSATA. And then you've got a SD card reader here. You've got your mechanical Wi-Fi on-off. You've got your USB and an eSATA connection for an external SATA device. Powered USB port. You'll notice this little cover here, because the previous versions, the T410s, had a modem, was the last version that had a modem, so they put the little clip cover here to cover up that spot instead of going and replacing the entire mechanical design manufacturing lines. It's cut some cost to be able to put that little plastic clip in instead of building a whole new one. Barrel plug for power. We've got our big battery here. Exhaust ports on the back and side, pretty common. And then we've got our VGA Ethernet display port and another USB port on the system. When we flip over to the bottom, we'll take a look here. We have our access to our 2.5-inch hard drive port. We have our mechanical docking connector, and then we've got our access panel for one of our memory DIMMs and our MSATA, and then there's 4 screws that you would undo to be able to access the keyboard and be able to access other components in the system, mainly getting access to that extra memory DIMM slot. Got your battery pack here. Of course, there's a couple different options for batteries. You could go with a slim battery or the more common handlebar battery to be able to carry around your laptop by the back of the battery. I know I always used to do that on the T420 I had for work back in the day. And then if you did have a wireless WAN card, you actually had the option to be able to install the wireless WAN right in this slot here. This little plastic placeholder takes the place of the full-sized SIM card that would have gone in that slot back in the day as well. Again, that MSATA, now I'm using it the right way, the MSATA connector that's in here would be able to power a WAN card connected to that SIM or an SSD if you were going to be going down that route as well. So pretty cool. Let's get this puppy powered up and take a look at what's going on inside. I am going to plug it in just for the sake of not being sure exactly how much battery capacity is left, but we'll get this thing up and running and take a look at everything else going on. Power button away. I'm going to turn on my Think light. And Windows 10 will be booting up on this. This is a SATA hard disk drive, so it will take a minute or two to load up. However, I think it's a SATA drive. I don't think I put an SSD in here. I know I did put 8 gig of memory in here because I could do it, and I like the T420. So I figured it deserved to have that extra memory installed, whereas normally I would put only put 4 gig in, as it's all that's really needed for a basic Windows environment. But as you can see here, the load time taking a little bit more than you may be used to on your current modern machine with a M.2 NVMe drive or something installed on it. We will get this going here from a task manager perspective and show off what we've got installed. So processor wise, this puppy's got a Core i5-2450M CPU, which is mid-range in terms of the ones that were supported on this. Obviously, as noted, you could get up to an i7 and you could get an i7 quad core in this, although maybe some BIOS wiggling that you needed to be able to make that work. And up to 16 gig worth of memory. I have 8 gig installed in here right now of DDR3, so lots of memory for a traditional Windows environment. And then we've got that 300 gig SATA drive in here as well. With respect to the graphics, let's open up Device Manager and just confirm if I do have, in fact, a discrete graphics card, which I'm pretty sure I do have that NVS 4200 in this model. But we will double confirm whether that is the case on display adapters. Oh no, it doesn't. Well, look at that. Catch me in a lie, will you? So this model is one of the ones for the T420 that doesn't have the NVS 4200M installed in it. But if I remember correctly from doing my reading on these models, it is something that you could actually add into these systems. It wasn't a soldered piece. It was actually a card that was stacked onto the board. If I'm wrong, you'll let me know in the comments, I'm sure. But I'm pretty sure you could upgrade these things. That was something that you could actually swap out or change if you needed to. So that's something that could be upgraded in the future. And then screen-wise, I'm pretty sure this is the lower end screen as well. This is going to be the 768p. Yeah, this is the 1366 by 768p, so definitely would be one that you'd want to, if you were going to upgrade this, right? You would be getting the higher end panel, you'd be getting an i7 processor, you'd be putting an mSATA SSD in, you'd be getting an express card USB 3.0, you'd be getting a 1 terabyte SATA drive, you would be getting that discrete graphics adapter, and and upgrading all those things in here. Maybe spend $400 or $500 to upgrade it and get it all fancy and looking great, and then you can walk around and show off your ThinkLight to everybody. Which is why else would you do anything with a computer if you would be who cares? You got ThinkLight. Nobody else has ThinkLight. That's the thing. Anyways, I hope this was a little bit of a trip down memory lane for you. I did have a T420 for work. My memories of the T420 is that I went through at least one hard drive every 6 months because the SATA drives that came in these things just did not last. You couldn't use them for traveling at all. They would constantly be dying, and there was nothing I could do to get the IT department to put in an SSD instead to be able to give me some of that stability. But otherwise, it was a stable machine and did everything else I needed it to be able to do for work from that perspective as well. So I'd love to hear your memories on that. If you want to share some links with other people in the comments below about all the mods that you can do and all the best places to maybe find them from an aftermarket perspective. Maybe there's a favorite vendor on AliExpress that sells all the different parts that you want to get. Be sure to share those as well. It's always great to expand the community for loving these older machines. As always, I hope in these strange times you are staying safe and staying healthy, and I will catch you in the next one.